Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, it's been a while since my last video. I've had a crazy time, but I'm okay. Lots of good things. This video today is one that's been building up for a while. I'm going to answer some questions that people have been asking me through Patreon and through Twitter. I'd also like to apologise in advance for me being in my PJs. I've had a long day. I'm very, very tired. I'm going to yawn lots during this video. So I'm really sorry, but you get to see me at my worst. You know, this is no makeup selfie, no hair product, no fancy clothes. I'm wearing my Book of Mormon t-shirt. It says hello on it. I haven't actually seen Book of Mormon yet. My friend gave me this t-shirt. I had tickets to go and see it, and then COVID happened. So that's like the worst thing. Anyway, I've split the groups of the questions are in 3 groups. So I split them into personal sort of questions about me and what I like, my hobbies, myself. Ones that are specifically to do with like cosplay and fandom. And sorry, I'm gonna yawn the whole time. And then ones specifically about me being a lookalike and other things to do with being a lookalike. And I'll probably touch on some stuff that nobody asked me, but they tend to ask in other circumstances, if you get me. So yeah. Anyway, I'll do personal ones first. So the first question is, where would I like to travel to anywhere in the world? Well, if politics and money and my personal health wasn't an issue, I would love to go to New England, probably the east coast of America, and see all the like cool old houses and all the witchy spooky places like Salem and Sleepy Hollow, and you know, all the creepy forests and the beautiful old houses. I'd also like to go to Mauritius because I have family in Mauritius. My uncle Ruff is from Mauritius, and so it'd be nice to go there. I can't because I'm LGBT, but if I could, I would. I've always wanted to see Tokyo Disneyland. I think it looks really cool. But, yeah, that's where I'd go. How do I cope with negativity online? I am a sensitive little flower. I do not take criticism and negativity well, but what I have learned over the years is to just delete and block people. I don't engage in arguments. I try not to let myself get upset. I don't even engage. I just delete and block, report them. I don't get a lot. I think I've managed to weed out the people who don't like me for whatever reason. You know, we've blocked each other, or our paths don't cross anymore, or it was a one-off or whatever. But it's a Mary Poppins mug. But yeah, so I don't like negativity. I don't cope very well with it. When I first came back to Twitter, somebody was really determined that they were going to annoy me, but I keep creating new Twitter accounts in order to like write pissy things on my pictures, and I just reported them, and then the IP got blocked in the end. So what kind of music do I like? And more specifically, do I like David Bowie? I love David Bowie. I really do. He's had some weird eras. We all have. But yeah, I like him. I listen to his music a lot. I like his songs that tell a story, like 5 Years or Space Oddity, where there's like a weird narrative. That'd be like a really cool animation or a film or something. But in general, my favourite sort of music... Oh, I'm so tired. Why did I do this when I'm tired? My favourite sort of music is jazz and blues from the 1920s and 30s. So my favourite musician of all time is Cab Calloway, hence why one of my rabbits is called Calloway. But I like Nina Simone and Ella Fitzgerald and, you know, Sidney Bechet and Louis Armstrong. And, you know, if it's jazzy and it's brassy or it's kooky, you know, pre-war right through to the 1950s, beginnings of rock and roll, is my sort of go-to music. I also like rock music. I like classical music. I like bits of pop music. You know, I am gay, so I like a musical. I could pretty much find merit in a lot of genres, but if I had to pick, if I was on a desert island and like you can only take one CD with you, it would be probably a jazz compilation. And I say that as a man who has 3 different Muse tattoos. Now, obviously, Muse are my boys. I love them very, very much. So I do like my rock music. I like it weird. I like space opera type stuff. So yeah, cool. Someone asked me about pizza, and I can't really eat pizza. I'm lactose intolerant, which breaks my heart. There's a really good pizza place here in Wales that used to be in my friend's work and is now an independent, and I can't remember what it's called. I want to say Pizza Pronto. Is that a thing? Can't remember. But they do artisan handmade pizzas, and they do a really, really nice vegan one, which is margarita sauce with a odorless garlic dressing. And they also do one which is made with peaches and balsamic dressing on the top, and it is... So I like a weird pizza, I guess. I'm a fruit on pizza kind of guy, but that's only because I can't have cheese or meat, so I'm not very good with the vegan substitutes for cheese. They don't sit well with me at all. I'd rather not try. I've tried in the past and it's never worth it. I don't miss cheese that much. My favourite book when I was a kid... I was a very booky child, very booky. If it had magic in it or fantasy, as with now, I would have loved it. I remember reading the Red War books when I was a kid. I loved Red War. I loved, obviously, Terry Pratchett's work. I had The Carpet People and Truckers and Diggers and Wings and Johnny and the Bomb and Only You Can Save Mankind, that sort of thing. A lot of Joe Murphy, love The Worst Witch. So that sort of thing, generally speaking, would have been my favourite sort of thing. Witches, wizards, fantasy creatures, ghosts and goblins and all sorts. Same as now. Nothing's changed. I'm 30 years older and I still like those sorts of things. Do I own any plants? Yes, I do. How many can I count from where I am? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Oh, maybe there's 30 in this room. Shall I show you? I'll turn you real quick. I've got some on my shelf over there. And my laundry, which is very exciting. Good to see some of my laundry then. Yes, I have many, many plants. I'm particularly proud of my philodendron, who's called Phil. Every single day since I first got him, he's made at least one flower. He flowers every single day. Little teeny tiny purple flowers. And I like Cavendish, who's my banana tree, although he hasn't been doing so good at the moment. Apparently I over-fertilised his soil and gave him brown spot. And I like Gabriel, who's my angel wing begonia, who's absolutely thriving and needs a new pot. I've never seen anything grow so fast as Gabriel has. Oh, and Peter Parker, he's my spider plant, who's having babies at the moment. He's got 5 babies. He's a mother. Will I ever go back to Instagram? Nah, I don't think so. I think it's too easy for people to be negative on Instagram with 0 consequences. It's far too easy for creepy, scary people to find me. And also, I think there's a weird subculture on Instagram where people are very cliquey and there to make money or make fans and not really friends. I kind of like the format of Twitter because it feels a little bit like a sort of online journal where I can just type whatever I want to type and send it out into space, and I don't really care who interacts with it. And like I said, I've only had a couple of negative things since joining. And it's been a good few days since I've had anything, so fingers crossed that's what's working for me, but definitely not Instagram. So the next section of questions is about specifically cosplaying and costuming. So somebody asked, how did I get into cosplay? Now, I've been able to sew since I was a toddler, probably before I went to school. My mum taught me how to sew, and I was doing little simple cross-stitch kits by the time I was 5 or 6 years old. I started making things to wear when I was about 13 or 14, and I started off with, do you hear my shoulder click, Glenn? Oh my god, I'm like made of glow sticks. The first sort of things I sewed to wear were gothic frilly things. Always been the love of my life since day one. So things like lacy chokers and collars and jabots and wrist cuffs and things. And I actually used to sell them when I was a kid. I had a little space on a friend's market stall, and they'd let me sell little bits of jewellery and things I'd made. My best seller when I was like a teenager were little dangly earrings, which were real Barbie shoes, actual Barbie shoes that I put little ear hooks on so you looked like you had high heel shoe earrings. They were my best seller when I was a child in the late 90s. And then, so yeah, as my sort of sewing experience grew, I got into like bigger items of clothing. So I would be like, I've always been I didn't know what it was called when I was a kid, but I loved dressing up as characters and stuff. And I was kind of the only person who really did it in amongst my friends. But you know, that we had a local rock club where I grew up. And I was very much the one for like, oh, at rock night this week, I'm going to go dressed as Crowley from Good Omens, or Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange, or Frank the Rabbit from Donnie Darko, like as if every day was Halloween when I went out. And I didn't know that cosplay was a thing. I had no idea what the word was, but I loved that. The first proper costume I sat and like put any effort in was probably Frank the Rabbit from Donnie Darko. Most of the other things I'd done before that would be like things that I just bought, you know, or maybe I was Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, and I remember making that dress. And I learned one of the important lessons of when you first get into making clothes for yourself, and that is you can't sew a non-stretchy fabric to a stretchy base. I bought this dress that was the good shape for being Sally's dress, but I made the patches for it out of felt and sewed them on, and then it meant I couldn't get the dress on and off comfortably because it wouldn't stretch anymore. So I learned that. That was fun. So yeah, kind of gradually got into cosplay, and then my first cosplay, which is the next question, to an event, to like a Comic-Con, was Loki, the Avengers Assemble version. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I have a dear friend who helped me with a set of horns and a scepter, and I think that really sold the look. If I didn't have those, I don't think anybody would know it was supposed to be. But I went to the October MCM Comic-Con as Loki, and I was so scared. Even the night before, I was like trembling and I felt sick. I didn't want to go. I thought I was going to be like one of those memes where everybody's going to laugh at me. And I remember walking down the con hall to get to like the back of the queue, and people were screaming at me, and like somebody gave me a little fake plastic red rose, and I still have it. It's been nearly 10 years and I still have that rose. And like girls were kneeling at my feet, people yelling, Loki, Loki, because I guess I was one of the first people to cosplay that version. You know, the film had only come out a few months before. And it was just such a rush and a buzz, and I was like, oh my God, people actually like me. They want me to be here and want to include me. So that was really nice. And I spent a long time making that as well. You wouldn't know it from looking at the pictures. I've made better versions of Loki since, but he was like my first one. Ultimate cosplay goal. If I had all the money in the world, I would love to make more like Georgian outfits. I think the Georgian era had some fantastic costumes, like King Louis and his like Sun King outfit. I mean, but you know what? If I had all the money in the world, I'd pay someone else to do it for me. Make me a delicious outfit, please. I want to be dripping in gold. I'm going to go and lay on my chaise longue and eat grapes. Yeah, that would be nice. I've always fancied maybe being a xenomorph from Alien, because I do love me a monster as well. or I would like a merman tail. They're very expensive, those things, and rightly so. I guess they have to be like safe and waterproof and all that jazz, but I would love a merman tail. It's kind of my top three: King Louis, Xenomorph, merman. Favorite item I've ever made, cosplay or otherwise, is probably King George III. I put so much effort into that costume, and I love how it looked at the end. I love the end product, and I feel really powerful and sexy when I wear it. I love Hamilton. I love his song. So yeah, probably King George is the thing that I'm like most proud of, that I love in cosplay terms. Is costuming my main source of income? No. Well, I am a registered disabled person, so I can only do 16 hours a week work anyway, regardless of what that work could be. So if I worked in a shop, or if I worked in a factory, or if I worked, you know, in a place of business, I could only do 16 hours a week. So I do probably spend 16 hours a week making things for people. I like running my little Etsy shop. And, you know, sometimes I have lots of things for sale, and then sometimes I can't really cope. At the moment, my best seller are handmade pirate shirts. But I've had to take them out of the shop because I am knackered. I'm so tired. It's not because they're not selling. It's just because I can't keep up. It got to the point where I was making one a day, every day, for about 3 weeks. And I didn't have a day off, and I just got absolutely knackered. So yeah, it's not my only source of income. I guess it gets topped up from the government because of my disabilities. I don't want to talk about them too much because I don't want people to see me as someone who's like a disabled cosplayer or disabled whatever. But I have mental health issues, so my official diagnosis is chronic obsessive compulsive disorder. So I have OCD, and I hate it when people joke about it because it really ain't fun. And I also have a physical thing called Gilbert's disease, which doesn't affect me in a massive way. It's how my body, my gallbladder and my liver produce and process bilirubin and bile. But because of my OCD, it's affected my body over the years. So like my insides don't work as good as they used to, and I get a lot of pain, and I get a lot of weird twinges, and it has a knock-on effect. So yeah, no, not my main source of income. If I was a well able-bodied, able-minded person, I would love it to be my main source of income, but I do need days off sometimes where I just stay in my gym jams and don't do anything. My favourite thing about the Good Omens fandom, I've put this in the cosplay bit, I like how inclusive it is. It's really rare nowadays to find a fandom that is so accepting and non-questioning of things like people's pronouns and identity and sexuality and race and backgrounds. You know, nobody really cares, and it's refreshing. I've been in a few fandoms in the past where it's been very centered towards a specific sexuality or gender or age group, and excluded anybody who doesn't fit that. So I like the fact that our fandom is inclusive. It's a very old fandom. It's a fandom I've been part of since I was a child. You know, it's been 30 or so years. And it's nice to see the new wave of people that have come in since the TV show has been made. Not always. I think some people don't seem to understand that the TV show is based on a very old book, and that some of us have been here for longer than other people have been alive, sometimes twice over. It's very strange for me to see something that was such a massive part of my growing up now becoming like a big thing that everybody's into. I never thought I'd see the day where I could buy an Aziraphale Funko Pop. I don't know if it's what Terry would have wanted, but here we are. So there we go. Right, that's all the cosplay questions. So the final section that people were asking me about is being a lookalike. Not very obvious at the moment while I'm in my gym jams and I haven't had a shave and my hair's or whatever this is. I don't know. But I am a registered lookalike for David Tennant. I've done work with the BBC in the past and at events, which has been fun. I do like it. I've worn David's costume, his full costume from top to toe, for work for the BBC, which was amazing. Everything fitted me, including the shoes. The jacket was a little bit big on the shoulders. The brown coat was a little bit big on the shoulders, but everything else fitted lovely. And I had his hairdresser fluffing my hair and doing all the bits. It was very nice. So questions I've got related to that. Have I ever met a Matt Smith lookalike? Now, I think this is a specific Matt Smith lookalike, but it doesn't matter because I don't think I've met any Matt Smith lookalikes apart from Carwyn, who I worked with when I did the thing with the BBC. He was the 11th Doctor lookalike there. Hello, if you're watching, by the way. But I've not done a lot of events where there have been other doctors. Normally, when I get hired to be a lookalike, I'm the Doctor, and then there's like an Indiana Jones, a Marilyn Monroe, and a Lord Voldemort, or whoever characters it is. It's not very often that I'll have an event where I'm with other Doctor Who's. I guess if it was a Doctor Who centric event or a BBC centric event or something like that, they would. But generally, I'm the only one there, which is a shame because I love geeking out with other Doctors. But I would love to meet more. It would be nice. Please hire me. When did I realise that I looked like him? I still don't really think that I do. Other people tell me constantly. I only got an agent literally this year because I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off for so long. It's you guys who tell me all the time. I think it really started snowballing maybe about 5 years ago is when people were telling me all the time, and that's when I started my gender transition. So I guess when I started presenting like more male and I cut my hair really short, people were like, oh, that's what was underneath there. No wonder you were such an ugly girl. So yeah, kind of built up from there, and just doing little things like, I know I started doing like kids' birthday parties or charity fun days and that sort of thing. I did a thing for Children in Need where I was on stage with what's his name? I can't remember the celebrity's name. I did it for a charity where I was the 10th Doctor and Fop Doodles was the 11th Doctor, and there was a glitch in the rift or something, and all these monsters from Doctor Who were coming out. We had Daleks and the Silence and a werewolf and all sorts of things, and we had to save the day by making friends with everybody because that's the whole point of the charity. And it was very sweet, nice being on stage with Pudsey Bear. I've done things for the British Film Institute, and like I said, the BBC. It's kind of just built up through word of mouth and stuff. I guess if I'd had a agent the whole time, I would have had more work the whole time. But gaining an agent in the middle of COVID when nobody's filming anything or nobody's having any parties and nobody's doing anything has kind of been a bit stupid. But I guess I had to just kind of wait for the right moment in my life. Do I get stopped in the streets? Stopped? Not so much. Comments? All the time. Sometimes I'll play it up. I will go out and I'll have my stick-on sideburns and I'll spike up my hair and I'll wear sunglasses, and I get a lot of Sandra, David Tennant. Or people will sort of stop and have a little look and that. I got on a bus once and the bus driver did this. And I was like, I'm not going to swear on YouTube, but yeah, it was very, very funny. I get a lot of playful banter and a lot of looks. It's very funny when with drunk people, they are convinced that I am him all the time. It's very funny. I got tweeted once. I did an event in, I think I'd been to London for the day. I must have been in London for the day and got back on the coach to Cardiff. I didn't get back till about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was still in my full costume, and I had to walk through Cardiff city centre to get to where I lived at the time. And somebody took a picture of me in my costume, like zooming my way through Cardiff city centre, and tweeted it, gone, just seen David Tennant in his full costume in Cardiff city centre, do you think the film in Doctor Who? And it went nuts. Like, it had thousands of retweets and like people were saying like, oh, can we use your picture in the paper and everything? And I had to send them a little message and go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just a little gay man in a costume. So that was quite funny. Stopping me though, I maybe after COVID is done and we're back to events and stuff, maybe. I think I've only cosplayed Crowley at a con the once. And people do stop me at con, like, all the time. Like, I can't move some days. But yeah, and then the last question is, have I ever met David? No, I have not. Never, 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 not never have I ever met him. I've met, I think, all of the other doctors who are still alive, like old school doctors. I'm pretty sure I've met all of them now. At like cons and stuff. I've met Christopher Eccleston because I was at the premiere of Thor: The Dark World dressed as Loki, and he plays the dark elf in that film. And I didn't meet John Hurt. So I haven't met David. I've seen Matt Smith, but not enough to like say that I've met him and had a conversation with him. I have met Peter Capaldi, who was absolutely lovely, 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 lovely man. And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Jodie Whittaker yet, but I have met some of the companions and things, which has been really cool. I got slapped by Catherine Tate, which was a wonderful experience that I paid for. But no, I've never met David, and I'm sure I would love to meet him one day, because I have a copy of Good Omens, which has already been signed by Michael Sheen and Terry Pratchett. So I would really like to get David's signature and Neil's signature so I can have my sort of big four in there. That would be really lovely. A few more things I'll answer before I go. People ask me online all the time. They ask me about my rabbits. I have two pet rabbits. They are called Peralta and Callaway. They are now 3 years old. They are brothers from birth. They are cinnamon mixes, so they're not purebred cinnamon. They're cinnamon mixed with something else. So they are huge and fat and brown and very cuddly. They are not affectionate. They love each other, but they do not love me. They will tolerate patting and smoothing, but they will not be picked up. They do not come to me for anything other than food. And they're very, very naughty indeed. And they live in my house like most people have cats and dogs. They just run free. And they spend most of their days curled up with no legs on the rug, settled down like little chicky chickens. Right now, Perry is trying to wash his feet, and Callaway wants him to wash his nose. So he's put his foot on Callaway's nose, which is nice. I also get people asking about where I live. I live in Cardiff in Wales. That's as specific as I'm going to get, because I've had trouble in the past with crazy people finding out where I live. If you ever buy anything from my Etsy store, my real address is not the return address that's on the parcel. That's my mum's house. And my mum doesn't live anywhere near me. She lives in another country. But it just means if your parcel gets lost in the post, it's going to go somewhere instead of just being lost in the post forever. But Cardiff's nice. Would I like to live here forever? No, I really want to live in London. There's more work in London. You know, I could do costuming work there. I could do more lookalike stuff there. More film and TV work would be nice. I'm looking to move definitely this year. I mean, as soon as possible, really. What other things can I say? I mentioned being LGBT earlier. So I am a transgender man. I'm 6 years into my transition. I am on Libido. I've only been on Libido for 3 months. Up until that point, I was on Testagel, but the Testagel wasn't working. So now I'm on the Libido, and I'm getting like my little mustache and my little beard, and my voice cracks all the time, and I can't sing anymore. So that's fun. I am also pansexual, which means I don't really mind what bits you've got, as long as you don't mind mine either. I don't have a preference when it comes to people who I date. I don't mind, really. I think if you're talented enough, you make do with whatever you find, if you know what I mean. What else? I don't really know what else to say. But if you have any more questions that you don't feel that I've answered, or, you know, if I missed your one, drop it in the comments, and I might make another one of these in the future. And maybe I'll even get dressed for the next one. Maybe I'll do it dressed as a character. Would that be fun? Do my questions dressed as like the Doctor or King George or something. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. I am on Twitter now. My Twitter handle is banana costume C1. I don't know why it says C1 on the end. Maybe there was already a banana custard. So banana custard C1, and I tweet several times a day. I put up cosplay pictures and my thoughts and art and promote people, and it's all good. So yeah, I guess I'll see you on the other side.